welcome to my channel all about finding joy while living with autoimmune disease. I am so glad to have you here. So today I'm going to be talking about my 3 biggest challenges when starting the autoimmune protocol AIP and how I got through them. So starting the autoimmune protocol AIP was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I was about at my rock bottom when I started, and just functioning was really hard. And so it was especially difficult to learn how to cook cleanly, to learn how to eat according to the AIP, and to learn all of the lifestyle factors too. And so today I'm going to share what my biggest challenges are and what helped me get through them. So challenge number 1 I faced on the autoimmune protocol was changing my mindset surrounding food. So prior to starting the AIP, I'm a busy mom. I relied heavily on grabbing food out when I needed to, taking food to go, on packaged food, it was really hard for me to think outside of the box. And so I remember looking at my foods to include AIP list, and it's all like fresh, whole foods, unprocessed, nutrient dense, which is amazing, but it was really hard for me to wrap my mind around how do I eat like this 24/7. So in addition to trying to think outside of the box and to trying to imagine not eating takeout, I also had a years-old habit of a weekly cheat night. So every Friday night, my husband and I would go out on a date night to our favorite Mexican food place in Southern California, and it's like all bets were off. Like we would eat whatever we wanted, and then that would actually end up spilling into Saturday and sometimes into Sunday. And so I couldn't imagine, I'd try to eat pretty well most of the week, but that was our jam. Another challenge I ran into surrounding mindset and AIP was I was an emotional eater for a lot of years. Most of my life I was an emotional eater, and so it wasn't only when I was stressed or sad or whatever, it was also when I was happy and celebrating. Either way, I would eat food. I was an emotional eater. And so when I was looking at the AIP list, I was thinking, I gotta get this under wraps, because there's somehow eating vegetables is not the same thing emotionally as eating a tub of mint chip ice cream to me. And so I had to work through some of my emotional eating habits too, that again I had for years. And so I'm gonna share some things that helped me work through my the challenge I face as far as changing my mindset surrounding food when it comes to AIP. And so one thing that really helped me was finding my why. So really digging deep and finding my why. And honestly, as sick as I was, when I started, I was not in a place where I was strong enough to do it for myself. So I remember pretty early on in my AIP journey, I was struggling, and I knew I needed to change how I ate. I knew I needed to change how I lived, but I was having a hard time. And I remember hearing my kids in the background, and I remember thinking, if one of them was this sick, or sick at all, you would do anything in the world for them to help them feel better. And I remember thinking, Shanna, it's okay that you can't do this for yourself yet. Do it for them, because they need a mama. They need you to be the healthiest that you can be, to be there for them, to love, to support, and to take care of them. And that really kind of flipped a switch in my mind that, I will do this for them. I will learn how to eat this way. I will learn how to live this way so that I can live the best that I can, so that I can be the mom I want to be. And so that was really a turning point for me. Another thing that helped me was focusing on what I can eat instead of what I cannot eat. So starting the AIP can be pretty overwhelming when you look at all of the foods that you aren't supposed to eat. So if you're like me, you ate mostly off of the exclude list and not very much stuff off of the include list. And so it can rock your world when you're thinking, okay, I can't eat this and this and this and this. But really, it helped me when I changed and thought about what I can eat and focused on including as many of those nutrient-dense, healing foods as I could. It really helped me to think about that every time I eat, it's an opportunity for me to give my body the nourishment that it needs, the nutrients and the vitamins and the phytochemicals and all of the good things it needs, so that it can function as well as it can. And so when I focused on what I can eat instead of what I cannot, that was also a shift for me. Another thing that helped me was meditation. So it can be pretty overwhelming and time consuming in the beginning starting the AIP, and so it really helped me to spend about 5 to 15 minutes a day. Meditation really helped me find peace, and this is in addition to prayer and my faith, so it wasn't in place of that, it was in addition to, and it really just helped me find increased peace. Another thing that really helped me was gratitude. So every morning I would write down, and I still do this to this day, a couple years later because it was such a game changer. And I write down 5 things that I am grateful for. And it could be anything. It could be little, big, in between, whatever. I don't judge it. I just write down what I'm grateful for. And then I really take a minute to try to feel gratitude. And I noticed that by doing that in the morning, it really snowballs into the rest of my day and helps me feel gratitude. And so how this looked for me when starting AIP was, I'm grateful that I know about AIP. I'm grateful that I know that what I eat matters. I'm grateful that I know that sleep is important. I'm grateful that I know that I need to manage my stress in order to feel better. Period. I need to. There's no way around it. And so I would find, instead of thinking, I can't stress out, or how am I going to figure out how to sleep, or I can't eat that, I would switch it and think, okay, I'm grateful I know that I shouldn't eat that because of my autoimmune condition at this point in my life. I'm grateful that I know that I need to get to bed early, and that I know that I need to get my sleep under control. I'm grateful that I know that meditating helps decrease stress. I'm grateful that I know that walking is going to help improve my wellness. And so instead of thinking about all the things you have to do, or I had to do, I would think, I am grateful that I know this. I'm grateful for this knowledge. And that was empowering to me, and that really helped me throughout my day focus on what I'm grateful for. And as things would pop up, and I'm not perfect, I still kind of, would grumble, I would stop myself and think, replace it with something I'm grateful for. Okay, I can't eat that. I'm so grateful I can eat this. Okay, so this next one may seem a little silly, but it really did help me a few times. And this is called calling it out. And I read about this in the Atomic Habits book by James Clear, which has nothing to do with autoimmune wellness or health. It's just about developing good habits. And it's a book I love, but I used it for this. So it's calling it out. And so what it is when you're feeling like, for me, I use this with emotional eating. So when I would feel like I was going to emotionally eat, I would stop and I'd call it out. So what that looks like is this. All right. And you can emotionally eat with AIP foods that are not good to eat every day, right? So there's AIP cakes, and there's AIP cookies, and there's AIP pancakes, and there's AIP muffins. That doesn't mean that's what you should eat every day, all day, right? In fact, I really, really limit how much I eat those things, because I don't feel best when I eat those things. I feel best when I eat, a lot of vegetables, meat, healthy fats, limited fruit. When I start getting into that other stuff, I don't feel as well. So this is what calling it out looks like if you're struggling with emotional eating, or this is what it looked like for me. So, okay, I'm stressed. I'm looking at that AIP cake, and I'm thinking, I want to eat the whole thing. So it would look like, I'm feeling stressed right now. I don't have a control over my emotions, and so I'm going to eat that AIP cake. And you're saying it out loud. And the thought is that one of two things is going to happen. Either, number one, you're going to realize, I don't want to emotionally eat. This is something that I worked hard to get through. I don't want to go back there. I want the freedom of not being an emotional eater. And then you don't eat it. Or the second thing that is going to happen is you're going to eat it anyway, because I'm going to eat it anyway, but I'm going to at least know that I'm emotionally eating and that I still have work to do surrounding emotional eating. So it's basically just bringing awareness and intention to what you're doing, to what I'm doing. And so I found that it didn't always stop me from emotionally eating, but it helped me to realize, okay, that's something I still need to work on. That's something that I need to bring some attention to. And there were times it did help me not emotionally eat. If you're struggling to eat, non-AIP foods, it could look something like, okay, I can't handle my life right now. I'm stressing out. I'm freaking out. And so I'm going to eat this tub of mint and chip ice cream that is going to hurt my health. And that can bring awareness to what you're doing, and it can help you realize that the choices that you make emotionally could hurt you physically. And maybe you're going to eat it anyway, but at least it'll bring attention to it, and maybe it will stop you from eating it. And again, say this out loud. Okay, so another thing that really helped me as I started AIP overcome the whole mindset challenge was to dream big. And so when I started AIP, I was about at my rock bottom. I was struggling to function. And so it was hard. And so I would think about all of the things that I could no longer do that I wanted it to do again. And I'd picture myself healthy and doing those things again. And it was things like being at my son's baseball game and cheering him on. It was things like being able to take my daughter to rock climbing. It was things like being able to travel again. And so, being able to take a shower and not rest, like little things too. And so I encourage you to, as sick as you may be today, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on what you want in your life again. Picture yourself healthy and well, and know that the AIP or any other way of eating that you found that is helpful or sounds like it could be helpful, know that that can help you get to where you want to be again. There is such power in nutrition and lifestyle. And so I found that dreaming big and picturing myself healthy and well and doing the things I wanted back in my life, I found that that really helped me with my self-discipline. So challenge number 2, one of my biggest challenges when starting AIP was learning how to eat AIP on the go. So within weeks of starting AIP, my symptoms started to improve and I was able to start to rebuild my life and start to do more and more. And I did take my time and went as slow as I needed to, but as I was doing this, I realized, like, okay, this way I'm eating is supporting my health. It's helping me do these things. It's helping me to be able to, function. Okay, now how do I eat this way with taking, our kids places, with traveling, with everything I've got going on? How do I know how to eat this way in my home. How do I take this show on the road? The 2 biggest things I found that helped me, huge, number 1 is planning ahead. So you know that you're gonna be eating 3 times a day, right? So whatever your plans are, you've got to have your bases covered. No matter where you go, you've got to have your bases covered. And so planning ahead and thinking about, okay, not just like running out the door to go do things. I'd have to think and plan ahead. Okay, how long am I going to be gone? What kind of food do I need to take? Do I need to bring my supplements? I need plenty of clean water. Do I need to bring snacks in case like a kid's activity goes for longer? All of those things. So planning ahead. I can't say enough about it. Second thing is learning how to pack my own food. I really was not that great at packing my own food to go places. And so I really had to figure out how to do that. And some things that helped me was getting some glass Snapware. I'll link down below to my favorite, and just being able to take my meals on the go. Also thermoses. So thermoses, I don't think I'd ever used one really before starting AIP. They're amazing. They can keep your food warm for hours. And so I would heat up my AIP meal, throw it in a thermos, and I'd have it for hours and hours, and it would be warm. Now I have like a few different thermoses. That way, if we're going to be gone for a couple meals, I can bring a couple meals with me. Another thing that is amazing is a portable oven, like a Hot Logic portable oven. I mention this a lot in my travel videos, but it's great for even if you're just going, somewhere else. If you have an outlet in your car that you can use, one of our cars has an outlet, one of them doesn't, but I love plugging that in the car and heating up my food that way too. A few other things that are helpful if you pack your food are, don't forget utensils and napkins and, your supplements, plenty of water. Just think about anything that you need and pack it. And my husband's really understanding now about me carrying my big bag of food or my big bag of anything I need wherever I go, because really that's how I feel best. Eating out, it's really hard to find somewhere that is AIP. It's really hard or somewhere that has AIP options. Yes, you can modify like menu items, but I found that cross-contamination is a big issue. So that's just something to be very, very mindful of. So if you do eat out, I encourage you to bring an AIP allergy card to give to your server or to the manager or to the chef, and that will just say, these are my allergies, and on the back it could have like a simple meal idea, this is what I can eat. If you don't already have one, you can make one, or I have a free download that I will link to where you can download a free AIP allergy card and take it with you to restaurants or as you travel. Also, parties and holidays were really hard too. And so I found that one of the most important things to do is just lovingly communicate. Let your family and your friends know the way that you're eating and why, and just, tell them, I love you, but this is where I'm at, and I'm just going to go ahead and bring my own food. You can pack your own food for holidays and parties, or you can host them so that you have control over the menu, or you can just bring a couple AIP dishes to share with everybody, and just to make sure that, you know, people aren't using a utensil for something that has, you know, gluten in it and then putting it in the AIP thing. Obviously that'd be not good. But so those are some options for eating out. If you need some help explaining AIP to your family and friends, I also have a free elevator pitch that will, it's just a few sentences that explain, hey, this is what's going on. So I'll link that down below too. Also traveling, I couldn't, it was really hard for me to like wrap my head around how to do AIP while traveling. Since then, I've done a number of trips. I have it like, I'm fine tuning it more and more each trip. I've gone on a cruise on AIP, I've done air travel AIP, I've done road trips. You name it, I've stayed in a hotel on AIP. So I have written articles about it, and I have some videos that I will link down below if you're wondering how to travel on AIP. Okay, so my third biggest challenge when starting AIP was adopting the AIP lifestyle. So as important as nutrition is when it comes to AIP, lifestyle is incredibly important too. And at first I just felt so overwhelmed by the nutrition side of it that it was hard for me to wrap my head around the lifestyle side of it. Real quick, what are some of the AIP lifestyle aspects? It's things like reducing stress, improving the quality and quantity of sleep, movement, making sure that you are getting a movement without, you know, over exercising, overdoing it, connecting with others, having a support system, getting out in nature, reducing toxic exposure, and things like that. So what are some things that helped me when it came to the AIP lifestyle aspect? Number one is to realize that I do not have to change everything at once, and really picking one thing and working on that, and not trying to like change all of those things, because really I did not want to add to the stress. So if you are like I was and you don't know where to start, I would start with either sleep or stress. Either work on improving the quality or quantity of your sleep, or work on decreasing stress. And I would start there, and then as you have your, you know, your sleep down, as you like have your stress levels managed, then I would go ahead and move on to like making sure you've got your movement dialed in, making sure that you're connecting with others, making sure that you're reducing toxins. And that alone, there's so many ways that we can reduce the toxic load in our life. And so I would just encourage you to take baby steps, focus on progress, not perfection. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. You don't want to cause yourself more stress. Something else that was really, really helpful was giving myself permission to rest. And so I was really good at my rock bottom about resting, because I didn't really have a choice. I was so sick. But as I felt better and better, you know, I still would, you know, come to points where I needed to lay down. I needed to rest here and there. And it was tempting to be like, no, but I'm doing better. I got to do all the things. Well, that would have just landed me right back where I started, right? Or pretty close to it. And so it was really important that I took time to rest as I needed to. Another thing that really helped me was learning to love and accept myself the way I am, imperfections at all. Unfortunately, none of us are perfect, right? We all are human. We all fall short from time to time. And so really learning to, you know, forgive myself, to love myself through it, and to realize that changing our lives is really hard. Changing my life was really hard, and I'm not going to be perfect at it. I'm not going to get it right the first time, but there's no rule that says you have to get AIP right the first time. There's no rule that says you have to get AIP right the 10th time you try it, right? There's no limit to how many times that we can try. So a couple other game changers for me when it came to lifestyle aspects was learning how to set boundaries better. Setting boundaries on my time, on our family time, allowing more time for self-care, allowing more time for unscheduled family time really, really helped. So another thing that helped me was learning how to laugh again. So at one point in my journey, I realized that I let autoimmunity and how sick I felt steal my laughter. I remember coming to a point where I could not remember the last time I had laughed. I remembered my husband laughing, I remembered my kids laughing, but I didn't remember me laughing. And so from that point on, I've really tried hard to find ways to laugh and to feel joy, and to look for, like, I have the most out of control belly laugh you've ever heard. Like, I snore, it is not attractive, and I used to hate it. And now I just like let it go. I love it, and I'm so proud of it, because I remember when I no longer had it anymore. So I just encourage you to laugh as often as you can with your kids, with your man, with your friends. Just laughter is so healing. Please know I am cheering you on. Starting the AIP can feel so daunting. It can feel so overwhelming. It can feel like the hardest thing that you've ever done. I know, because it felt like that to me when I started it. But here's a secret, that things that seem hard at first, as we do them, as we practice, as we keep trying, they become easier in time. If you told me years ago that I would ever eat the way that I eat now, I would tell you you're nuts. Like, I could never do that. I could never have the self-control. I could never make those choices. Like, I don't even know how to. Um, so please know that if you're feeling those things, 100% normal. I feel you. I was there. But please know that you've got this. I am cheering you on. Please reach out if you have any questions at all. I love supporting you. I love being here for you, because I needed someone there at the beginning too who understood, because I don't know anybody in my real life who eats the way I eat, who lives the way I live. And so I'm happy to come on here and to support you and to cheer you on. All right, so those are my 3 biggest struggles when starting AIP and how I got through them. Again, let me know if you have any questions at all. You've totally got this. I'm cheering you on. And I publish new videos every week. So if you don't want to miss any, please hit subscribe. And I hope you guys have an awesome week.